sympathetic.
Oh, I know. I know. When I was gone all weekend, it's like, I didn't want to talk to him. It's like, oh, after work today, I can hear when he's talking to me. I can hear that one.
I bet you. Next time I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Let's get over here.
Well, all his stuff is great.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good, good.
So you're gonna stay after, and we're gonna have our get together. You and Barbara and Rebecca Groff, who's going on the Ireland trip, right?
Right.
And she's gonna come over whenever she gets done with her church. So it'll be 11:30, 11:45, somewhere in there. So that will work.
I
Okay.
don't know about Barbara, but I'll be here.
Okay. Sounds
I'll
good.
take notes.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
God is in everything I see. God is wherever I may be. God is the life in you and me. God is I am. God is wherever I may see. God is wherever I may be. God is the life in you and me. God is I am. God is. God is wherever I may be. God is the life in you and me. God is I am. God is the life in you and me. God is I am.
Welcome everyone this beautiful fall day. My name is Jan Griffith. From those of you who may not know me, I am one of the licensed Unity leaders here. And the prayer room partner today is Sharon Stewart. There's Sharon raising her hand. She'll applause, applause. She'll be right over there by the prayer room if anyone would like to share joys or concerns, or just have someone to sit quietly with you while you pray. It's a wonderful thing. We're based on prayer at Unity, and we always have a prayer room partner. Before you shut your phones off this morning, be sure that you go and check in there on Facebook and let your friends know where you are, and invite them to come to Unity or to listen. We have podcasts. We have live streamers every day, so good morning to the live streamers out there. Glad to have you join us. Be sure and tell your friends about us. And you can find that live stream or even the archive podcast real easily. You just go to the website, unitycr.org, and there's a little button there that says podcast. So easy to find, and to join us and listen to all those wonderful lessons. All right. We have several things today. As you already noticed, we have Janet as our guest in Nina's place today, our guest accompanying us. We have Josh and, yes, thank you again. We have Josh and Paula continuing with the interactive series that they've been doing on building our strong foundation. This will be the third Sunday, so we welcome them back. And they're going to guide us through that process of discovery in the midst of change. And we also have guest musicians today, and I'm just going to introduce them now so that when it's time for them, I can just go sit down and enjoy their music. They are Tanvi and Nolan Vidkar, and they're the children of Finn and Jill Meadows. And we've had them here with us before. So we're pleased to welcome them back again. Very talented young people. Tanvi is now 7th grader at North Central Junior High in North Liberty, and she's in show choir there and enjoys dance and playing piano and flute as well. And Nolan is a sophomore now at Iowa City High. He plays saxophone in the Jazz Collective. He also plays piano and drums. And today, Tanvi is going to sing for us, and Nolan will be playing the drums and the piano. She'll be singing Almost Missed with Nolan on the drums. And that comes from Sesame Street album I grew up with. And Nolan will play a piano piece during the offering called Consolation Number 3 by Liszt. So we welcome those two. You have always a slip in your bulletin with spirit activities on that. Coming things for the next week, take that home with you so that you have that for your calendars. And next week then, on the 28th, there will be an Elaine Fisher Community Cupboard meeting before the service at 8:50 in the Strong Room. And then after the service, we're going to have a very special thing. Those of us who knew Barb Sherman, she passed away. She also was known to most of us as Grandma Barb. We're dedicating a Sunday brunch just to Grandma Barb. She loved potlucks. And this is going to be a very special brunch. It's going to bring your favorite treat. And then we're going to share memories of Barb. So it's a potluck dessert brunch. Doesn't that sound good? That sounds better than regular old meat and potatoes brunch to me anyway. So, all right. Welcome all. We'll start our service by knowing that Unity is a special place for anyone, wherever they are on their spiritual path. It's a place for enlightened living. We gather here to create that experience of spirit. We have practical teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. We meet you right where you are, and we provide a variety of ways to support you wherever you are. We'll begin with our invocation. You'll find that printed on your bulletin. If you'll say it all together with me, please. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. We just sit quietly for a minute for just a second of prayer. I'm very aware of the changes in the season and changes in our lives and changes here at church. And I have such gratitude for the beautiful fall trees. We can look at them for lessons on how to embrace change. They remind us to stay firmly rooted and to sway with those chilly winds of the changing season. They tell us to relax and let go of all that no longer serves us. There is a great wisdom as we know that letting go prepares us for the changes ahead, just as it prepares trees for the heavy snow about to come. It provides an opening, as all change does, for new life and for new growth. And so as the season changes and the year ahead comes, let us all invite that wisdom to know and to move forward so that we have new growth and new life here among us. And so it is. Amen. Our daily word today was one for guidance. The scripture basis for it comes from Psalm. Your word is a light unto my feet and a light unto my path. I am one with the loving guidance of divine mind. Spirit expresses through all of creation as loving guidance, maintaining perfect order in all things. Today I focus and I take time to gain direction in all that I do. Since my essence is of spirit, I am one with divine mind always. And I remember that truth whenever I feel confused, conflicted, or uncertain of what my next step should be. My mortal mind is limited, relying on yesterday's fears to make today's decisions. I choose to move beyond any preconceived limitations to the loving guidance available through the presence of divine mind within. This day unfolds before me, filled with satisfaction and joy as I feel that loving guidance with every step I take, every choice I make. I am one with the loving guidance of divine mind. Now, as we've said before, we will not be doing youth and family ministry since Josh is one of our speakers. And so we're not going to be singing You're Walking in the Light, kind of my favorite tune. But we are going to have some other music, which is called We Are One, which is great, and it's on your pink sheet.
And we will do this 2 times, all right? Here we are in this room, knowing we are one. Together we will always be messengers of love. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Here we are in this room, knowing we are one. Together we will always be messengers of love. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. We are one. We go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go, we are one.
You may be seated. All right, so now is our time for our special musicians. So we invite Tavi and Nolan up to sing for us. Thanks.
Hello. I think I gave the wrong name of the song. It's Nearly Missed, and it is from my favorite album of all time, a Sesame Street record from the 70s I grew up listening to. So my kids are fulfilling one of my dreams, which is to perform this. And I'm just up here for moral support. Tomby's an amazing singer, but she gets really nervous in front of a group, so I'm up here to sing along. She's supposed to drown me out, and I'm here to lighten the mood, right? All right, and I must say Nolan is dealing with a pretty different drum set than the one he has at home, so he's improvising.
Well, I'm looking at my feet at a crack in the sidewalk, an old tin can by the side of the road. I nearly missed a rainbow, I nearly missed a sunset, I nearly missed a shooting star going by. While studying my brand new hole in my sneaker and finding a quarter and an old bus token, I nearly missed a rainbow, I nearly missed a sunset, I nearly missed a shooting star going by. Looking down around me to know where you're going. No head up in the clouds to lead you astray. But you can never have any kind of dream that way. I'm looking at my feet at a crack in the sidewalk, an old tin can by the side of the road. I nearly missed a rainbow. Don't wanna miss that sunset. I wouldn't miss a shooting star going by, passing me by, going right by.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, hey, I'm here. You let me back in.
Yes. Once again, thank you so much for coming back after 2 weeks. This is week 3, and we're just feeling so grateful for the opportunity to serve in this way. And I think the fact that I am up here today with Josh, who has a little more experience doing this, is kind of a demonstration of kind of what our lesson is today. And our lesson really is about change. It's about shining our own divine light. It's about being of service. It's about getting out of our comfort zone. And so we wanted to take a few minutes to just kind of reflect on the past few weeks and kind of think about the journey that we're on. And so if you remember, if you were here week 1, it was highly interactive, in which we filled a lot of paper with words. And the words were really, how do I feel? How do I feel about this change? How do I feel about losing our minister of 10 years? About being ready to receive a new minister? And so, as you can see, there were lots of feelings here, and some of them were sad, some were happy, some were hopeful, some were disappointing. So knowing that all across the board, we all have different perspectives, right? We all have a different sense of what this experience is for you. And so we'd just like you to take a minute to think about those feelings that you experienced in or shared, which would be now 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay, week 3, yeah, 2 weeks ago. And Josh is just going to kind of take you through a reflective thought process with regard to those feelings.
Yeah, so just a couple weeks ago, we talked about those feelings that we had arise, and take a moment just right now, closing your eyes and taking a nice deep breath, and bring to the forefront of your mind that word or those words that you shouted out or that you had come up, and just investigate, just kind of create some space in the body. Maybe extend your spine so your ribs aren't pushing into your organs. You can take a deep breath and really acknowledge that feeling or those feelings that came up, and just check and see if there's been any progress. Are you still holding in that space? Have you spent any time in the last 2 weeks with that emotion, with that sensation? Have you noticed where it is in the body, where you really feel that pull, that presence? Maybe there's been some progress and you notice that maybe that word doesn't even apply anymore, and we've moved beyond that, and there's a new sensation or a new vibration with the experience. Maybe the word is transitioned into a different space of maybe what would be perceived as negative or fear-based. Whatever the action or the feeling is, just notice it. There's no wrong or right way to process change. But we just simply ask that we stay present through the change. Allowing yourself to move in the space in the kindest and gentlest way with yourself. And opening your eyes, coming back into the room, coming back into the body, just recognizing that you're not alone in the process. Seeing the backs of heads, seeing our faces, moving through the process with you as well. Opening your eyes and coming back into the sanctuary.
And here we are.
Here we are in this room.
Knowing we are one. So your feelings are your own. And that's your own work to do. It's not something somebody can fix for you. Somebody can give you the magic pill or to say, okay, here's a new minister, ta-da, feeling's gone. That's your own work. So we would just encourage you as we get ready to receive a new presence in our life. Only you can do that work for yourself. Then the next week, we spent time looking at our assets. If we are inviting a new minister to be with us, what do we have to offer? What are we telling this person that we can bring, that they can be expecting to receive when they walk through our doors? And wow, did we have a lot to say. And there were things that have to do with our building, with our grounds, our facilities. There were things that had to do with our community, with our presence and how we show up. So, and the reason this is important is because we need to be able to be in a place where we can give gratitude for all the many, many things that we have, and recognize our unique opportunity to claim our good each and every day and not take it for granted.
And so to that end, we're just going to invite you guys to join us on a little bit of a kind of a peace walk in our minds and a gratitude tour, so to speak. And so I just invite you to close your eyes and imagine with me as we walk through this space. So here we are in our sanctuary. We're looking at a platform in our mind's eye. We're looking at a couple people presenting in our mind's eye. We see a piano off to the distance, and we see another room, the prayer room. Just noticing this space, all the prayer that's taken place in that prayer room, the 2 chairs with the little salt light. We see the prayer room just serving those folks that need to celebrate joy or share concern with another person, sharing that Christ light. We come back through the sanctuary and notice the foyer, all that space where musicians have come in and shared their material, authors have come in and shared their subjects and their knowledge. The chapel, the small room that's brand new from a few years ago. We see that space with the beautiful glass windows, the stained glass windows, the dove, the peace, be still. All the meditations, the prayer-a-thons that have taken place in that space. We move back through the bookstore, the sacred grounds and books. We're seeing all of the Unity literature, all of the Eastern philosophies, Christian ideas that meld together. Seeing the local arts and crafts, seeing the technology displays, the lounging options, the couches, the chairs, the table for meeting and congregating with other fellows and ladies in this space. The big open windows looking out to the pond. Moving through that small kitchen, able to serve on the buffet in the serving area. Just giving gratitude for all of this space that we can use as a community. Moving out, walking underneath the dove in our entryway. Knowing that peace is always above us, always below us. All around us. Seeing that little entryway with the couch, a place to hang out before and after service, or during the week when things are going a little different. in the purple room, the community cupboard. Knowing how many people just come in and are gently served, kindly served. The plants in the walkway before the offices, in front of the offices. Moving all the way into the community room, all the space for gathering, sharing food, sharing fun, sharing our faith. Celebrations of life, celebrations of marriage. Places where we've invited the tours of the Buddha, other cultures to share their celebrations with us, interactions with interfaith communities, our classrooms where we can learn and express spiritual development and fulfill that yearning to grow more in our spiritual experience. A new kitchen where we have approval to actually serve and provide food for many. The classrooms for our preschoolers and our toddlers. Seeing all of the abundance of toys and playthings and books and all kinds of just interactive opportunities to share in the joy and wonder of God's love with children. Being reminded constantly that we must come to God as little children. Go out to the brick garden, we see all those folks who have dedicated their time and talent and treasure to Unity. And little Lake Unity out there with the ducks and the geese. All of our space and our land, whether we use it or not, it is a space to call ours. Just finding that space of gratitude for all that we have, this abundance, and all of the living beings, the hands, the hearts, and the feet that put in the effort to maintain this space and utilize it to its fullest potential. Every single place purposeful. Saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessing this space.
Thank you, Josh. Last week after the service, after we did our kind of identified all the cool stuff we have going for us here, we gathered. I didn't. I took off for St. Louis, but the community gathered in the community room and gave input, shared the, thoughts, more input, more ideas. And I know that the board is very grateful for that input and very grateful for the participation, the sharing of ideas, of thoughts. And just remember that that's one opportunity to share, and over this whole process there will continue to be more, because this is our community. It's not Josh and my community. Well, it is our community, and it's the board's community, and it's all of our community. So thank you for actively participating in these opportunities. And in addition to that, there is an opportunity to serve on a minister's search team. And if that's something that strikes your fancy, those applications are due today. And from there, the board will be meeting on Tuesday and making some decisions about that team. And if there are lots of applicants, they're just going to have to pare it down to a smaller group so that some really good work can be done. But just know that those people who dedicate themselves to that work will be very, very mindful of engaging you throughout this process. So as candidates are brought forward, you will have an opportunity to give input to that. So just know that opportunity exists. I personally have been through a lot of change in my life in the last few years, and sometimes change is self-imposed because we decide that we're ready for change in our life, and sometimes it's, and when it's self-imposed, I mean, it's self-regulated. You have the opportunity to kind of call the shots and to determine that path of change. And sometimes it's really imposed upon us, and when that happens, we may not feel like we have a lot of control. We may feel like, what does that look like? What's my piece in this change? How do I fit in? How is this going to be different from me? How can I continue to create that safety that I feel every time? Because I knew what I could expect when I walked in the door. I knew that this was going to be what it is. And I didn't have to challenge myself to kind of step out of my comfort zone. So with any change, we have that opportunity to step outside of our personal comfort zone and be open-minded, be open and ready to receive the newness. And we also have an opportunity to participate, to be active participants or to be passive participants. And I know how much people just love to just get up and do interactive things during the service. So we're just going to force some change for you. This would be imposed change, but you have a bit of self-regulation within this. So what we're asking is, when you walk in the door, and I see this happening every single week because I do it, I walk in the door and I gravitate to the same place, right over here. It may be row 2, 3, 4, but right over here, that's my comfort zone. I like it there. And in fact, sometimes I've actually maybe sat in the back pew and people will say, well, I didn't see you. I didn't know you were here. My mom will come in late and she'll be looking for my head here, not back there. So, and I can pretty much know where folks are going to sit. So we're going to ask today that you get yourselves up, and if you sit in the back, find your way to the front. If you sit in this side, find your way to another section.
We are not scary or stinky. We have a whole first row that is wide open.
There's lots of space just
It's
waiting
amazing.
to be filled.
So little did we know that we actually attend the home of practical Christianity. So this is a good way to practice the opportunity of bringing the Christ presence in the midst of change. That this is not just a theory, folks, that this is a life worth living. Move around.
Wow, we emptied out a whole section here.
Look at this section.
Wow.
One brave soul.
But thank you for filling the space right up front here. This feels much, is it awkward? Oh, Sally, thank you. Thank you for naming the awkwardness that you are feeling right now.
Awkward.
Very anxious right now.
Okay, yeah. Isn't that true? Like when we go to a different space, when we move to a different space, it can feel anxiety producing. It can feel awkward. It can feel different. And what opportunity you have.
Listen to the energy.
I know.
Oh, what do we do?
Wow, this is where we're. So take a minute to just think about the perspective that you have sitting in the seat that you're sitting in right now. Now, Don, I know you sit over by close by the drums. Anyway, we'll give you a pass. Janet, you moved. How does it feel back there?
Very different.
Very different. So recognizing that when we come in, we have our experience through that habit, through that lens of my vision, my view from my space that's comfortable for me. And when we move to a different space, we have an opportunity to see our experience in a new light, from a different vantage point, from a different perspective. And recognizing the awkwardness in that. Or experiencing the opportunity to see things through a new view, a new vision. So it's nice that you're kind of mixed up a little bit, and maybe not sitting exactly next to the people you sit next to. Going back to this. So when we come here and we do something different, we're kind of changing our habits, recognize what people might feel as they're coming in for the first time. This is a new space, new faces. I'm having a new experience.
And we're not just talking about a seat, right? We're talking about an entire faith lens. What are we looking at as our spiritual foundation? What are we looking at as how we define Christ? What are we looking at as how we define a new thought or a relationship with Jesus? How do we transform that message for so many folks that come in with perhaps a traditional perspective or a foundational perspective, and serve as that caveat to awakening a spiritual relationship or providing a new lens? It's not just about where we sit, folks, but it's about those ways that we unconsciously put ourselves into ruts that we think are purposeful, that we think are helpful, that we think are comfortable, but inadvertently set us aside and set ourselves apart from where we thought we might be. And we lose sight of something that somebody else sees all the time. And so it's that inclusivity that builds us, brings us more information, builds us a broader horizon, builds us a broader perspective, because as we see things from different perspectives, we become more accepting of those that come in, we become more patient with those that maybe have differing perspectives. And I'm not even talking about just new congregants anymore, I'm talking about in life, practical Christianity, where we have this approach of just compassion for those who maybe see things differently. And through that compassion, we're able to embrace life, embrace change, and embrace difference of opinion, because we know that that makes our experience that much richer.
I was so into what you were saying, I lost track of where I am. So as you walk through your day today, maybe take a different route home from service, from church. When you're hanging out, watching TV, or doing whatever you do tonight, maybe sit in a different spot, or maybe do a different activity.
But I love my love seat.
Some of our other core values, so Josh was really talking about preparing ourselves and reminding ourselves that we are an inclusive community and that we have different perspectives. And the other thing that I'm very aware of is that when we walk in and before we leave this experience that we call our Sunday morning routine, we tend to come in and we tend to gravitate towards the same people. We tend to go up to the same people and always make sure we check in. Hi, Sally. How are you today? Because I know Sally. I know Sally's safe, right? I can get a hug. I know what to expect. And there are so many people in this room that are a part of this community that maybe we don't even know. And one of the things that I am always curious about is, oh, did you come from do you live here in Cedar Rapids? Are you from Cedar Rapids? Did you grow up in another faith community? What do you do for a living? And those are all very practical things life experience things. What I really want to know is what lights you up? What brings you joy? Where do you find your energy, your outlet? And so I would just ask you to think about that. Think about, for a moment, what brings you joy? What activities are you engaging in when you're experiencing joy, when you're feeling energized? Do you have something in mind? I do. Do you? Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do this in a way that is going to mix you up a little bit, but look around the room and find somebody that you probably have never talked to before, that you maybe don't even know their name. Now, don't everybody go to the new folks, because they, I'm sure so find a few people, because as you start to move towards that person, you may find that somebody else is going. So have a backup plan, okay? Have a couple of people. I bet there's at least 2 or 3 people in this sanctuary today that you really don't know. And the question you're going to ask them is, what brings you joy? How do you shine your light? Okay? So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. I should mention that we have about 2 minutes of sharing on each side, so they're going to talk. It's okay to be in groups of 3 if you're looking.
Okay, sounds good.
If you haven't already had a chance to switch, I'm on.
Okay, are we both on? Okay. Please make sure to switch and let the other person talk if they haven't already.
Could you squeeze me in at some point to just let me talk for like 30 seconds?
Okay.
That that be okay? That doesn't go through. I was going to grab a fingers.
You want a tissue?
You have to go through that way. Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and get back to our seats and let's just chat moments about what we've been doing. See, once you meet somebody new, you can't get enough of them. That's how it works. You put yourself out there, and all of a sudden we experience the joy of connection.
All right.
Isn't that funny? It's
How
quite
was that
interesting.
experience? Was it good? Did you meet somebody new? Did you learn something about that person? Maybe knew sort of a little bit, but not really.
Did anyone have any fear deflated? Any fears about meeting new people that were deflated or defeated? Did anyone overcome a fear in meeting somebody new? Nobody. So did you meet somebody new? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm afraid of meeting new people.
It's a safe place.
Right.
Yeah, good. That's so awesome. Al, well, as we, what word that was. I really have had like 4 hours of sleep every night this last week, so I'm still upright and taking in oxygen, as Brenda would say. Again, as we gather on Sundays, find that person. Maybe make it a goal. Every week, I will find one new person to talk to and just explore.
Did you guys know that learning is transferable? Learning. So when we learn how to address an uncomfortable situation in one way, we might be able to apply those same skills in addressing a discomfort in a different situation the same way. So for instance, we walked over to somebody and, hi, I'm Josh, I'm kind of a weird guy, and I get really passionate about talking in front of people and being vulnerable, but I always feel super tired when I'm done. And then they say what they're gonna say, and all I did was maybe just sit there and enjoy what they had to say more than what I was saying. And so when I experience something similar to where I'm walking into an unexpected situation, I can simply observe and recognize that it's okay to be present and observe rather than worry about what I'm going to put into it. Because most of my fear generally when I'm meeting people is based on what I'm putting into the situation, not what they're offering, right? So when I walk into a situation, rather than focusing on what I'm doing, I can simply be present, observe, and that transfer of learning takes place.
So at that point, we're being open and we're being receptive to receiving a new connection. And we're giving of ourselves. We're offering another person an opportunity to connect. With that idea, it was really awesome to hear just the energy in the room, because hopefully you were talking about what I asked you to talk about, which is what brings you joy, what energizes you. And that might be a little bit of an insight into how you shine your divine light. Because aren't we shining our most Christ-like life when we are living in love and in joy? When we feel alive? So we can be our most Christ-like self in those moments. So now we get to sing. We're going to sing a song that probably is familiar to all of you, and I'd like all of you to just stand up and sing along, and that is This Little Light of Mine.
And when we sing it like you're paid professional. Like, stand up, let's sing this thing. I'm going to turn off my mic.
Let it shine.
blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let no one blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let anyone blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
First verse again, and this time with all the energy and passion. That
Silly.
You can muster
Be
up.
silly. Be silly.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right.
why the heck are we doing that? What is the point? Why are we acting the fool in Sunday Fun Day service? What does this have to do with Jesus? Why do we come to church to do that? Well, this is exactly to enjoy our spiritual community, to recognize that even in the midst of change, in this pursuit of identifying a minister, that we still have the opportunity to connect, join, and be with one another as ourselves and for ourselves. And to simply be vulnerable, knowing that even in the tides of emotion that we expressed 2 weeks ago, even in the recognition of what we have, we still are in the process. Because what are the two things we can always depend on? I don't care about the other one, but change. Change is one of those things that we can always move forward with. And I think I just misapplied that.
That's okay.
But that's okay. Change is always going to happen. And so the idea that we are able to come together, shine our light in the midst of change is the joy that we have together.
And allowing others to shine their divine light, and recognizing that and seeing that in one another. Don't be afraid to acknowledge that and to see it and to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your gift, for sharing of yourself, for being a part of my spiritual community. Because gratitude, there's no limit to our sense of gratitude, to our sense of connection, to our idea of being able to see and value one another. So with that, thank you all for playing along, for participating. And Josh will lead us through a brief, since we've had so much reflection time today, will lead us through a brief meditation before we get to hear some wonderful music again. Thank you.
All right, so I just invite you to get comfortable in your seat and let your body be fully supported by the chair. Perhaps tilt the crown of your head towards the sky, extending your spine, giving your lungs room to take in a deep, full breath. Anchoring into the ground, feeling yourself connected, serving as a conduit between Father Sky and Mother Earth. Going into the infinite invisible within. Beyond form, beyond name, into that holy of holies within. Using this divine appointment to remember our Christ-like self. With each breath becoming more and more relaxed, with each breath becoming more and more centered. Acknowledging that the mind is a gift given to us for thinking, but in this moment right now, we move past thought into the experience, into the practice of being here now. In this moment, we give great thanks for the gifts of community, the gifts of facility. We give great thanks for the communion with our holy self, that we might experience this moment of wholeness. No matter what the waves or the turbulence may appear to be, through the simple art of the breath, we can always come back to the ever-present acknowledgement and memory of God. And so it is.
As you move through your week, I challenge you to move out of your comfort zone, to see things from a new perspective, to open your mind to that new perspective, and to open your heart to seeing another, to making a connection. Thank you. Now we have an opportunity to give more gratitude with our blessings of our tithes and offerings. So, now's the time. The saying is on your right-hand side of the bulletin. If you would join me in saying that. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give,
and all that I receive. I am grateful.
We will gratefully receive some more music.
Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Josh.
Who'd you go meet? Who did you go meet today?
Oh, several people.
Okay, good. Good.
Even you.
It's true. It's true. So we just give great thanks for these offerings and these tithes given freely and generously by the hearts and hands within this community, knowing that they are of service to those not only within these walls, but in this city, in this state, and in the United States, going far beyond what we can imagine and how they're purposed, seeing them pressed down and overflowing, working for the good of our community, for the furthering development of our Christ consciousness. Saying thank you. Amen. So Nancy wanted to come up and say a couple things.
I was thinking about what I'm passionate about, and one thing I'm very passionate about is traveling. I'm actually traveling right now. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nancy Dearborn, and I was very involved in this wonderful community from 1996. And I moved to Arizona, and now every time I come back, I come to visit all of you. And it's wonderful to be back. And my new person that I met today was Dawn. Would you like to raise your hand or stand up? So Dawn is brand new, eager to get acquainted here. But the reason I wanted to talk with you today is if you share my passion of travel, I would like to invite you to join me on a trip that I'm organizing to Ireland in September. We have a couple members of the congregation who are going. Am I free to divulge those names? Barbara and Kevin Crumvita are going. And I don't know that a lot of you are aware about this trip, but it's with Go Ahead Tours. And I'll be available after the service if you'd like more information. So anyway, nice to see you all again. And thank you for letting me come up to talk to you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and stand for the peace song. And we'd like to hold hands if you're willing and comfortable to do that. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Together, wherever I am, God is. And that's the truth.